Yeah, good.
All right, sir. So welcome to India Top Doctor. As you know, today we'll be speaking about guts and brain. So my first question is, what is the connection between the brain and the gut? If you can tell us about that.
I think the intercommunication between commensal microbiota and its host is necessary. And we find that the brain and the gut is definitely connected through the axis and involves the functions like immune functions, nutrient positive, brain development and function. That only makes people to say that gut is the second brain. The first brain we have in the top and the second brain we have in the bottom. Yeah.
All right, sir. So what part of the brain is responsible for gut emotions?
Now, for gut emotions, which is a very, very important point because the entire neuropsychiatry aspect is connected to the gut and then the brain. And 1 minute, I'll just come. There is a call from the dean's office. 1 minute, okay?
All right.
Sorry. Now, sorry. The whole thing, I would say the gut, I'll switch it off the. Oh, sorry. Once again, the gut microbiota influence the stress responses through the adrenal medullary axis. The stress finally leads to the mood and then the anger. And alteration in gut is associated with the neuropsychiatric problems. The most important thing is, it is the mood disorder, depressive disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, all of them are all linked to the neuropsychiatric portions with the gut. So you always get the chunk in your abdomen whenever you have a problem. And the most important point that is the central nervous system has the capacity to alter the gut permeability and then has a to and fro connections. So the mood is reflected in your abdomen, and we all felt that. When you're happy, it is also touching the abdomen. When you're sad also, it is there. And it is also concerned with our depression and autism. The positive correlation between the Clostridia species, that's the most important one, the specific autistic features also. So answering to your point, that not only the mood is in our neurology, we say subjective, objective state of mind. Both of them are totally dependent on the gut microbiota.
All right, sir. So there, we all know that gut is also called as the second brain. Can you tell us why is that?
Because it is dealing directly with the brain functions, and there is a hypothalamo-pituitary axis, which is very, very important, and the whole gut microbiota acts through the hypothalamic pituitary axis called HPA, or it acts through the sympathetic adrenal medullary axis, resulting in not only the mood, but it is also affecting the immune function. So there is a direct connection through the pathway connecting to the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, and the sympathetic ganglion. All of them are intricately connected to the gut system through both the axes. That's the reason why it can be truly called the second brain.
All right, sir. And there, when it comes to brain or anything related to body, bacteria is a very major part of it. So how does gut bacteria affect the brain?
No, the gut bacteria, I told you, the most important part is in jejunum enhancing the anxiety by stimulating the C-phos proteins in selected regions of the brain. Central nervous system has the capacity to alter the gut permeability. It has got the capacity to alter the motility. And it has got the secretion by stimulating once again the same HPA axis, autonomic and neuroendocrine pathways. And because of which it can tell and modulate the gut microbial composition. If you look at it, the serotonin, 95% of the serotonin is produced in the gut microbiota, then transferred to brain. You can just imagine how much the bacteria microbiota is playing a crucial role and in the state of health and illness. And the metabolic products of the microbial community mediates the state of health. A positive correlation between the Clostridia species established is autistic. So germ-free mice are linked with reduced social skills. When this is associated with the level of von Economo neurons, that's called the Venn neurons. And the dysbiosis is a recent concept postulated as a trigger for abnormal protein deposition in neurodegenerative disease, in Parkinson's disease, and the immunological trigger for relapsing and remitting MS. In other words, the whole microbiota influences the brain function. For example, even in child's birth, when the child is coming through the vagina, it is completely protected by the bacteria present in the vaginal. The children who are born through cesarean section, they get recurrent diarrhea, infections, etc. That protects them totally. So in each and every part of the body, the most important nerve is the 10th cranial nerve, starts from the head, goes up to the intestine and connects all the parts of the system. And hence microbiota is altered by this.
All right, sir, very well said.
Yeah.
So is there any way gut affects the mental health of a person?
It is, as I told you now, it is supposed to play a very, very crucial role in practically when you want to look at it, it is playing a role in anxiety. Serotonin is not only produced in the brain, but also released largely from the enterochromaffin cells of the gut. I told you 95%. This is playing a very important role in anxiety. Gut microbiota, by modulating the neuronal proteins like synaptophysin and PSD, 95 influences anxiety like behavior in adult life. Further, administered glucocorticoids, steroids, reduce the synaptophysin expression in the fetal brain, suggesting that the stress hormones are influenced by the gut microbiota. That is another interesting factor. C. jejuni increases the anxiety-like behavior. Infection causes C-phos proteins expression in the basolateral nucleus of amygdala, paraventricular nucleus of the hypothalamus, central nucleus of amygdala, and red nucleus of the striatum terminalis. These regions are involved in processing the autonomic, neuroendocrine, and behavioral responses to internal changes like infection or processive or extraceptive challenges, responsibility for the shift in the exploratory strategy. In other words, the bacterial endotoxin could annihilate anxiety acting through the cytokine. So you can just imagine the extent of the utility of the microbiota in anxiety. It has got a tremendous role to play in depression. Depression is associated with GI disorders like stress, Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis. It is speculated that this caused due to imbalance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic discharge from the central nervous system could cause behavioral impairment. So the same thing now what we say, probiotic, why we call it as my bifidobacterium, has a therapeutic effect on the stress-related psychiatric disorders affecting the CNS function. Like depression and anxiety, it is very useful. Probiotics exert their antidepressive therapeutic activity through in rodents by bringing up various changes in the neurotransmitters which are produced, growth factors and neuromodulators. Probiotic bifidobacterium therapy produced normalization of the immune response. Gut microbiota, stress-related HBA axis is brought about through that. It is playing a crucial role in autism and in the association with neuropsychiatric disorders through the myelination process. Study has very clearly showed the association of microbiome with cortical myelination. Appropriate presence of functional microbiota is essential for the correct cortical myelination at well-suited times of neurodevelopment. This study revealed the hypertrophic neuronal signaling of GF muscle leading to hypermyelination in prefrontal cortex. These changes in myelination could be reversed easily by colonization and conventional microbiota following the weaning. Therefore, microbiota could serve as a therapeutic target in psychiatric disorders, which are linked to demyelination process, have been advocated for remyelination in the myelin diseases. In other words, it can be used even in relapsing and remitting multiple sclerosis.
All right, so today we got to know a lot more about guts and brain. Any message you have for our audience?
No, the message is very, very simple, I always say. Now, I would just put it in one word, that is, the review of the entire gut brain advocates the need for further research in this area with the perception that the harmony in the gut microbiota would enable to improve the treatment of neuropsychiatric disorders from the bench to the bedside. So the whole world is now get awakened with the new research possibility of treating, instead of the too much of drugs being applied to the patients, it can be done through a simple microbiota. Thank you.
Absolutely well said, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Then the last one, what is the topic? Is it tomorrow?